So let's talk about hacking. Sure, you've heard about the term, and you're probably imagining some nerd working on the terminal, typing so fast and speaking all crazy sorts of encryption algorithms and how he can crack them in his sleep. But what exactly is hacking? So today we are going to be discussing about hacking, and I personally don't particularly enjoy using that term, well, just because its meaning is actually lost on people. The same way the word genius has been. I mean, that word genius has been employed so spontaneously as to lose its originality. Back in the day, people did not just throw that word at every single person who portrayed a decent measure of intellect. You know, when that word was used, it was genuinely warranted. And that's not the case today. That word has become somewhat of an household vocabulary. But we're not discussing the word genius today. We're discussing hacking. So what exactly is hacking? Well, like someone said, hacking is a way of living your life. It's not sitting in front of a powerful console and trying to break into the Pentagon. Before screaming at me, just hear me out. I want to give you two examples. When I was 14, an uncle of mine owned an iOS Android phone. It was one of the very few Android phones back then, at least in this part of the globe. It was a very incredible phone. It had 3G, and that meant that browsing speeds were so fast at that time. It had also interesting games, and I will particularly enjoy playing those games. And my uncle just let me play those games in his phone until one day, I don't exactly remember what I did, but he got really annoyed and he actually changed his screen lock pattern, essentially banning me from playing my favorite games. So what did I do? I booted up my Linux machine, opened the terminal, and started typing. No, that is not what I did. I'm just kidding. At the time, I didn't even know that Linux existed. What I did is I waited for him to actually finish using his phone and to put it down. And after putting it down, I just went and picked up the phone. I looked at the screen and I saw, the outline of the pattern he had drawn. Uh, I had already known that he will draw it from left to right. So I just followed that outline and drew it from left to right and surprisingly got in. And I remember not sharing with him how I did it because I wanted him to think I had some superpower or something. But I was able to get into the phone just by, looking at that outline that is always left on the screen. Whenever you draw your pattern, there's an outline that is left if you don't wipe the screen. And I followed that outline and got into the system. The second example I want to give is if you're on a Windows machine, if you're on a Windows computer, if you open up the command prompt as administrator and run this command, then Windows will prompt you to enter a new password, without asking you the previous password, like the current password. It will prompt you to enter a new password, and you essentially don't need to know the current password, and that could be very dangerous, especially if a friend of yours changes your password. It could be very dangerous. So I actually came to the knowledge of this command back in 2016, and I pranked some of my friends with it, but there was no actual worthy use of it. Later when I joined college in 2017, I ran a very small business, emphasis on the words very small, of installing games and operating systems. And that business kind of taught me a lot of stuff, especially from broken installations that needed to be fixed. And I essentially learned that you can access the command prompt, the CMD, before any actual logging in. You can access it, and you can already think upon what I did with that information. So what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? Hacking is just exploration. It's learning new stuff. It's knowing how stuff work and trying to use that knowledge to your own advantage. You know, it's the way you live your life. It's just, yeah, the way you live your life, simply put. I dare you right now to search for how to hack. Just search it on YouTube, and you'll be surprised at the results that will come at you. You know, what you'll find there, in my very humble opinion, is, well, garbage. Like stuff like how to hack Facebook, how to hack WhatsApp, how to hack Instagram. I'm not saying that those platforms are unhackable. In fact, I believe that anything that works under an understandable principle is hackable. Emphasis on the word anything. But the majority of the results you're going to find won't portray any authentic hacker culture. You'll just find a guy who just explains the use of a tool that was written by somebody else without actually going through the details of how that exploitation is made possible. It is people like that who make it very difficult for me to employ that term hacking in my speech. If you want to be a good hacker, be curious, learn about stuff, work with stuff, and you'll be surprised just how powerful knowledge can be. And remember, no outstanding hacker is a script kiddie. My name is Sam. See you guys in the next episode. If you liked the content, if you really enjoyed it, a like will be massively appreciated. It helps the YouTube algorithm to recommend the video to more people. If you rock with this kind of content, consider subscribing and sharing it to your friends. Let's grow the channel.